Hi, I'm Daniel from Fun Robotics Network, and I'm here with Team 14503, the Robo Sapiens, here at the Houston Regional. Finishing off strong today, y'all were the first Alliance to Worlds out of the Houston Regional, having a very strong day so far. Learn more about their Indexer and their quick transfer here on Behind the Bot.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. Studica Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to studica.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts.
Robo Sapiens. So going into Decode, obviously there's many ways that you can approach the season. Going for a volume-based robot, going for an indexing robot, and very much different indexers that you can go for. I see they all went for a Spindexer. Can y'all tell me what led y'all to the strategy and how it's been going for y'all throughout the season?
Yeah, so this season we really wanted to make sure that we get the sorting ranking point during match play. That way, once we get the sorting ranking point, we would have a higher place in qualifications, and we could prioritize our line selection as well. And so this year, we opted for a Spindexer mechanism that has 3 slots and 3 dividers, along with a color sensor that automatically detects when a ball is in there and moves to the next slot. So Adi can talk more about our shooter.
Yeah, so going scale shooter, it seems that, I wanted to hear about the iteration that y'all gone throughout the year. I see that y'all have some weights in here. Is that something that y'all played with throughout the season, or is that something that just, y'all got for it right first try?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, as soon as the game dropped, almost, what happened was we had 2 goals, really, for our shooter. We wanted rapid artifact scoring and scoring from anywhere on the field. And so what we first started with was no flywheels on just 96mm Rhino wheels. Right, and so what we found was that we were losing way too much velocity after each shot. So even though we kept the same bevel design throughout every iteration, we did switch to hogback traction wheels from Gobuta using 96mm, and we have the Gobuta flywheel weights on each of them. So this increases our inertia and just reduces the velocity loss after each shot.
Yeah, and it seems on your shooter, y'all are super versatile around the field, being able to shoot from virtually anywhere. So can you tell me about that? What goes into software side of that? I don't use kinematics, linear regression, or anything of the sort.
So we actually combined a couple different things like kinematics, turret tracking with the pinpoint, and also limelight distance tracking. So we actually take the distance from the limelight and the April tag, and we calculate through a regression formula, which is a power regression. And it outputs the shooter velocity and the hood angle that we actually need to be shooting the shots and for those artifacts to always go in. Another thing is our turret angle, using our pinpoint on the bottom of the robot, as well as the limelight to actually get the pose. It follows the goal and always we can now shoot while moving, and it really makes our cycle times a lot faster.
Yeah, that's great. And going into y'all's intake, it seems that y'all have a lot of different materials here in y'all's intake. The vector wheels, the gecko wheels, y'all's circle tubing. Can y'all tell me more about that? If y'all played with different materials throughout the year, or did y'all just first try? There you go.
Yeah, so originally for our front, we just had gecko wheels, but since we had a very narrow intake, we wanted to make sure that we could funnel into the center. So we decided to 3D print our own vectored wheels with surgical tubing, so then it would funnel into the intake. And so another thing we noticed is that since our Spindexer was so high, it was really hard to create a bottom roller. So then the balls would always go into the Spindexer. So then we thought of a rubber band design that not only was big, but still had the right amount of compression, so then it wouldn't get stuck and it would still go into the Spindexer correctly.
Yeah, that's great. And it seems like y'all are super reliable within y'all's matches. Y'all are able to keep consistency throughout the whole day. Can y'all tell me what kind of fail-safes and sensors that y'all use to keep such consistency throughout the day?
Yeah. So a couple different fail-safes that we have is that if our Spindexer does get jammed, it automatically pushes the Spindexer back to make the balls fall through. And then also, we also have our limelight. If that fails, it actually goes straight to the pinpoint, and we can just align ourselves to a certain point on the field and hit a button, and then the pinpoint starts taking over. Another thing is our transfer. If our Super Servo Plus here stops working, we actually have a kicker as well, so it'll kick as well. So even if our one of the two are not working, we would still have a transfer going through the robot.
Yeah, and it seems like you have a super unique transfer. Can you tell me about that and how you've iterated throughout the season?
Yeah, so originally at the beginning of the season, we thought that since we have a Spindexer design, we wanted to make sure that not only can we shoot fast, but also consistently. Many Spindexer teams have to use kickers and have to go one by one. And so we decided that using a continuous roller mechanism, such as this hybrid roller kicker, would be really efficient, so then we can move the Spindexer continuously and still have the balls propel up into the chute. And so we combine that with a servo kicker, and so our transfer is really consistent.
Yeah, that's great. And going to y'all's autonomous, it seems like y'all have a great autonomous on the field. Can y'all tell me how y'all track during autonomous and like what type of pathing that y'all use, Roadrunner, Pedro pathing, or something that y'all saw in creation?
So right now we actually use Pedro pathing along with the pinpoint localizer. We have had some static issues with the pinpoint localizer, but using grounding plate has pretty much reduced as much as we can, and it keeps it very consistent. And the pinpoint, is super consistent, super precise. And then we also a couple other things that we do is we have our PID on our flywheel using the motor encoder, right? And then we also have a position PID on the Spindexer as well.
That's great. And going into your Spindexer, you mentioned your color sensors earlier and more of your sensor work there. Is there anything specifically you want to highlight there, or?
So basically the color sensor here picks up the color as soon as it goes in and sorts it to the right slot. And another thing is that it only moves the Spindexer if it's between a distance of 3 to 6 centimeters. Because if it comes up, then the Spindexer will jam, right? So it has to fully be into the slot before. So that fail-safe really helps us to make sure that we're not jamming as much as possible with the Spindexer.
Yeah, it's great. And another very important part that I've seen in Decode, especially with a lot of teams I've talked to, is voltage and voltage draw. I want to see, y'all seem that that has not been an issue, no DCs throughout this entire day. Is there anything specific that y'all use to combat that, or is it just playing?
I mean, the whole season, one of our main goals in the beginning of the season was to reduce power draw, especially since last year we had multiple servos, multiple motors, and so power draw was a really big issue. This year we just decided to opt for less servos, turning down the power, and also on the bottom we also have put foil over our pinpoint to ensure that ESD is taken care of.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, 14503. Y'all had a great day so far, and y'all are going to have a great time at Worlds, hopefully. Yeah. This is Daniel from Fun Robotics Network, signing off.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. Studica Robotics is inspiring teams to build better robots with their new array of FTC team options. Check out their updated bevel gears and Maverick hex shaft motors, Planetary gearbox options, and 6mm hex components and shafts for extreme power transmission. Go to studica.com/robots to learn more and apply for discounts. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs in their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first.